Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2401A, and today's date is February 10th, 2021, and the title of the episode is Central Bank is Becoming Desperate for an Event to Cover Up Their Economy. Let's talk about investing. The economy is too uncertain. International relations are shaky. You can't count on anyone except yourself. That's why many investors are deciding to buy gold and silver and keep it with them. Noble Gold is your perfect choice. You can have your precious metal shipping right to your door. Here's a great place to start. This 4-set of American Eagle 22-karat gold coins is the perfect investment. And all 4 of these, $5, $10, $25, and $50 coins, are bullion-grade proofs, authenticated by the U.S. Mint. There are just 20 sets around, so it's first come, first serve. There's also a mystery surprise extra coin as a holiday gift with each set. Discover more and call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 or click the link in the description. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, since Joe Biden was inaugurated, we've seen a lot happen in the economy. We've seen him destroy jobs. We've seen him wait for the payoffs to pay certain governors and mayors. We've seen everyday people go out and buy GameStop. We've seen corrupt politicians go after those same people, not Wall Street. We've seen Bitcoin move up dramatically. And it seems that this is all pressure on the private Western central bank system, exposing all different parts of their system. Remember, the central bank, they were robbed of an event. They needed this event. And remember, the event needs to be catastrophic to explain away why the economy is failing, to explain away why we need to redo things. They need to limit the population, or I should say reduce the population. They need all of this to move forward with their plan. Trump, when he came into office, he robbed them of all of this. They were on track to have some type of war to cover up the implosion of their entire economic system. Now, without this event, they are completely exposed. The pandemic is not going to work for them for the Great Reset. Yes, they're trying to push it. Yes, they would like to use it. Yes, it's in their documentation. But all it did was slow the economy down a little bit. And now that everything is opening up, the economy is springing back into action. They can't really use it. They might try, but the people will not buy it. They need some other type of an event. War is going to be very difficult at this point. They might try war. They might continue to try this to cover up the economic collapse. But this will be difficult because they had everything in place before, and now they have to go back and undo everything that Trump did, which he made a lot of peace deals around the world. And it will look kind of strange that they're removing the peace deals. So yes, will they have to try to start little events here and there to try to get the big event? Yes, this is something they have to do, but this might take too long. Can they try a false flag into convincing us they attacked the United States or another country to get us into war? Yes, but this would look kind of strange after all the peace deals. They still could try it. Or can they use some type of natural disaster? Can they say there's a solar flare? Can they say there's a meteor? Can they use something where they can say, wow, we are in trouble now? Well, they tried the pandemic. They used that for many different agendas. No one believed that this would ever happen. If we even mentioned it a year, 2 years, 3 years before this, people would think it was absolutely crazy. Actually, there's an operation called Dark Winter, which is smallpox, and it mimics what's happening today, except with a different disease, a different virus. So we can see that they're becoming desperate, and I'm talking about the central banks, because they can't just let their system fail because they're out in the open. People say, well, wait a minute, this is your system. We have the IMF, we have the ECB, we have the Fed, we have the Bank of International Settlements. Why is the system failing? Why can't we keep this system? and it'll be very hard to explain. So they need something else, and it seems they've begun maybe the narrative of what they're going to try to do. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. But everything that Biden has been doing, people are not buying anymore. Remember, when he came into office, he said they had this great plan to get rid of COVID. He's going to put people back to work. He's going to get the children back into school so the parents can go back to work. Well, it seems that this is not happening because Jen Psaki was out there trying to explain why only 50% of the schools with in-person classes 1 day a week is going to fulfill Joe Biden's promise to reopen schools. What is actually Joe Biden waiting for? Why doesn't he just open up the schools? Well, I do believe he's waiting for a payoff. Remember, this is a corrupt system. It's a criminal system. And it seems that he might be waiting for the $500 billion plus federal kickback to public school unions once Congress approves it. And then I wonder if they do get this, will they just open up the schools? Children then can go back to school. But until then, they need money. Remember, Trump, when he was in office, let's talk about investing. The economy is too uncertain. International relations are shaky. You can't count on anyone except yourself. That's why many investors are deciding to buy gold and silver and keep it with them. Noble Gold is your perfect choice. You can have your precious metals shipping right to your door. Here's a great place to start. This 4 set of American Eagle 22-karat gold coins is the perfect investment. And all 4 of these, $5, $10, $25, and $50 coins are bullion-grade proofs, authenticated by the U.S. Mint. There are just 20 sets around, so it's first come, first serve. There's also a mystery surprise extra coin as a holiday gift with each set. Discover more and call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 or click the link in the description. He didn't allow certain states, certain cities to get federal funding. He blocked it because they had their cities, their states shut down. They weren't letting people work. They let Antifa destroy a lot of the businesses, burn down blocks, and they were suffering. And they're waiting for these really big payoffs. They're waiting for that stimulus bill. I mean, think about the other stimulus bill that they passed where a lot of the money went outside of the country. Well, they put it outside of the country. They launder the money and then it comes back into the country. That's what they do. That's why there's billions and billions of dollars going to other places, not Americans. If we're in a true pandemic and the American people are suffering, like they say, then every single penny should be going to the people here in the United States. Period. Why didn't they do that? Because they needed to launder the money. They needed the funds. They needed to bring them the money back into the states, into certain elite pockets. They needed to do this. They're still doing it. This is a criminal enterprise run by the private Western Central Bank. And like I said in the beginning, the private Western Central Bank, they need an out. Joe Biden needs an out because everything that he's promised has been reversed. People are noticing it. I mean, during a pandemic, you really get rid of jobs? Does that make any sense? No. But what's very interesting, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but we can see how they could build the narrative up. This is just an example of what they might try. And remember, they're going to have to go big because they were going to have a war. They wanted people to die. They wanted to reduce the population. They wanted to transfer the system into a new system without anyone questioning it. With everything destroyed, no one would question it. With people dead, no one would question it. With the pandemic, pretty much everyone's still here. Everyone is still now going to work. Countries are opening up. Yes, they're trying to keep it shut down. They're trying to figure out a way to cover up this disaster of an economy, of a global economy. Now, NASA, they just came out and they warned of a slew of asteroids headed Earth's way in the coming days and weeks. Some coming between us and the moon, with other measuring roughly the same size as the Golden Gate Bridge. And they're saying the smaller ones, they're going to be coming close to the Earth. And I don't mean it's a couple of feet. It's going to be millions of kilometers. But they're warning everyone that the big one is coming in March. Now, can they say something or do something to make it seem like it affected something here in the United States? Of course they can. Will they use this story? Maybe, maybe not. But they're going to need something quite large where they can control it, where they can show people that it's having an effect. Now, one way of doing this is shutting down electric around the world. Or the other way to do it is hurting the electronics in the banking system. That's another way to do it. We'll have to see what they're planning, but we know that they need something much, much larger than the pandemic. The pandemic did not pan out for them. Why? Because Trump, he cut them off with releasing the vaccine early. He stopped the lockdowns where additional people were going to die. He did not become a dictator. He didn't bark orders to all the governors and the mayors and everything else. They let them handle everything on their own. He brought the ships in. He had makeshift hospitals made. Everything they didn't want to happen. They thought he wouldn't have ventilators, and he was able to produce ventilators. He used everything against them, where they were trying to make this entire pandemic into the worst disaster we've ever seen, and it backfired on them. Actually, today, the people can see it's not that big of a deal anymore. Actually, we already have cures. Why do you think they were trying to stop HCQ? It wasn't just for the election. They didn't want people to know there was a cure out there. Because if you heard that there's a cure and it helps people at the young age, it helps people at middle age, and it helps people at the older ages, maybe at a lesser percentage, people wouldn't be worried. You're not worried about strep throat, are you? Because there's an antibiotic. That's why. And they didn't want any of this. And this is what they tried to control. But Trump, he countered them at every single move they made. And they couldn't get around it. Now they need to look for something different. No one's buying the story that we need multiple masks. Nobody's buying the story anymore about anything because those people that were truly afraid, they're getting the vaccine. 2 doses, they feel safe. Even when they say, oh, no, that's not going to protect you, they still feel safe. Everything they try to do with this pandemic will not work for the Great Reset. They'll try to make a case, but they're going to need something bigger. And we can see that there are going to be all different types of narratives coming out, trying to hook into the right one. It could be war. I don't know if they can get something off the ground. I think more of a natural disaster where they can say something happened within the atmosphere and all of a sudden certain electrical systems went down, the banking system went down. And how would you check? How can you check on that? Just like with the virus, how can you check on it? You would just believe what they're saying. And yes, it would be coordinated throughout the world, just like the pandemic. So the central bank, they're becoming desperate. They're looking for a cover story. So far, they don't have one. I do believe that Trump and the Patriots, they've been cornering the central bank, cornering the corrupt politicians, cornering these invisible enemies that hide behind the curtain. And they've been cornering them and continually pushing them into the corner. So whatever they try, it is completely noticeable. And I do believe the Patriots, they're in complete and utter control of all of this. And this is part of their plan of taking back the economic system from the private Western Central Bank. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.